Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. On this channel, I've discussed how merchant services are becoming less small business friendly as time goes on. Merchant services is how I collect your money as a small business if you pay with a credit card. You come to my company and you have a credit card and I swipe it or put it in the machine, or if you buy something on my website, I use merchant services solutions in order to take your money. And what I've talked about on this channel is that whether we're dealing with PayPal or whether we're dealing with Square, there are more and more small business unfriendly things that are occurring. So we used to not have to pay a fee if we refund the customer, and now we do. So in the past, it'd be a 2.9% transaction fee and a 30-cent transaction fee. So if you spend $1,000 at my business and you realize 30 seconds later, I got the wrong thing, my bad, and you call me to give you a refund, I could process a refund and I would have to eat the 30-cent transaction fee, no big deal, but the 2.9%, which would be $29, would be refunded. Now, if you spend $1,000 with my company and you call me 20 seconds later and say, I bought the wrong thing, can you cancel this order? When I refund you the $1,000, I have to pay the 30 cents, but I also have to pay the $29 2.9% transaction fee. That's bullshit. I either have to pay it myself, which means that I'm going to increase the cost of my products and services, or I'm going to make you pay it. In which case, when you go to Amazon and Walmart, you can get refunds for free. You have no restocking fee, but when you go to a small business, you'll have to pay a restocking fee, which ultimately leads to the experience of small businesses being worse, which will drive people to larger businesses like Amazon and Walmart, which will be the death of more and more small businesses. And once all the small businesses are gone, the consolidation to the Amazons and the Walmarts of the world mean that they will be able to start treating people shittier once they have that vice grip on you, which is something you can see here when Amazon takes part in what I believe to be blatant price fixing. I don't think this is a good thing. And it's a slow creep. It happens with small things where there's, well, that's not a big deal. And then it turns into bigger things. And here's an example of the slow creep continuing. This comes from Square. An update to Interact debit card pricing. Occasionally, Square needs to update its policies and pricing for our products to better align with evolving costs from our network and payment partners. In these scenarios, we make pricing changes that we may invest in our platform, create new bloody bullshit, and you go down here. Starting June 21st, 2023, Interact debit card pricing for in-person transactions will change from 10 cents per transaction to 0.75% plus 7 cents per transaction for new sellers, and on September 21st, 2023 for existing sellers. So if somebody walks into your store with this type of debit card, they use the debit card to pay for the service, they spend $1,000 and you have to refund them. You used to have to only pay a 10-cent fee, now you have to pay $7.50 or so. Now, is it the biggest deal in the world? No, that's not the point. Let's look at the principle. This fee was lower over 20 years ago than it is right now. When do you think it cost more money to process a credit or a debit card transaction? Again, you're dealing with a machine, a device that's going to connect to a network over the internet that's going to speak to computers. When do you think the cost per transaction was higher? When they were using a Pentium 2 and a T1 line, or when they are using a 32-core Xeon server with a gigabit connection? As time has gone on, the cost for these transactions should have come down. As time goes on, and you are now using, again, a 32-core Xeon instead of some Pentium 2 shit, the cost should have come down for each transaction. Because modern hardware performs so much better, and because it is so much more efficient, the cost per CPU cycle has come down radically, which means the cost to process these transactions has come down radically. In spite of that, the networks will continue to increase their fee, not just increase the fee, but turn it from a flat fee to a flat fee plus a percentage fee. 0.75%. It's not a big deal. It's the point. It's the principle. More companies are moving to this model where they just don't want a flat fee. They want a percentage. But more importantly, more companies are doing this thing where stuff that costs infinitely less now than it did 5, 10, or 20 years ago is going to cost the consumer more now than it did 5, 10, or 20 years ago. And it's just a small thing. It's just like, again, you're not going to get a refund on the transaction fee. Debit cards are going to have a percent fee. Maybe now it's 0.75%. Maybe later it'll be 2 or 3%. Maybe later it'll be 5%. Maybe later you won't be able to get a refund of that fee when you refund the customer. It's just a slow march on and on. It's death by 1,000 cuts. I personally switched over. I stopped using Square when they did this, and I stopped using PayPal for about 95% of the transactions that I deal with. I wasn't able to get rid of it for 100%, but for about 95% of the transactions I do, I was able to get rid of PayPal when they implemented this garbage where they were not refunding people, where they were not refunding the 2.9% transaction fee when you refunded the customer in addition to the 30 cents. I just decided I'm not going to use this. And I had to take a bit of a gut punch doing this. I used Chase payment tech for this. When there is a chargeback, I get physical mail. I have to respond to them by physical mail because their website interface never works right, and it always has an error, and it always has an issue, and when you call them, they can't deal with it. There's a lot of things that suck, but I am willing to sacrifice. I am willing to deal with one of the worst merchant services providers in the world if it means that they're not going to charge me these nonsensical nickel and dime fees, because I want to send the message that I would rather deal with a website that was coded in 1997 that hasn't been debugged since 1989, that I am literally writing and responding to my chargebacks with a pen and fucking paper, than deal with any of this garbage. I don't want to send a message that it's okay. I don't want to send a message that when I refund a customer that they should have a worse experience with me than they do with Amazon or Walmart. I know people are going to say, well, what makes you entitled to be on the same level playing field as Amazon or Walmart? Why should you have the same things as they do? And enjoy your price fixing. Enjoy your price fixing. We get the world that we deserve. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.